Alright. Get on this plane for the purpose of meeting her. Oh, is that the her? That's the her, the girl from... I was wondering who the her was from before. That's kind of a good mystery for once. Good job, game. No matter how many times I read that file, it always makes me shiver inside. Don't say I can blame you. Guess if you chose to major in criminal psychology, it'd be necessary to accept the reality of what happened objectively and calmly. But the emotions that were burning within my chest weren't something I could easily suppress. Without any hesitation, that girl had killed many innocent people in the cruelest, most perverse ways possible. She had even taken the lives of innocent children who had never harmed a single soul. No matter how crazy she was, I just couldn't bring myself to forgive her for what she had done. To be honest, I was filled with an intense hatred for Inubushi Keigo. The elementary school student murdered back then was just 9 years old. If he were still alive, he'd be around Uni's age right now. That thought made my chest tighten as I watched Uni play on instantly. The corner of the room engulfed in darkness, a young girl sat on the floor, hugging her knees. Her tiny back trembled ever so slightly. She was sobbing quietly. A young boy put his hand on her shoulder. She glanced up at that boy with her tear-filled eyes and flung herself into his arms, embracing him tightly as if afraid he'd disappear the moment she let go. Am I really blind? Or was he animated like this a minute ago? She kept crying as she held on to him with all her strength. The boy gently ran his fingers through her hair. "It's okay," he whispered softly into her ear. "There's nothing to be afraid of, because no matter what happens, I'll be here to protect you." The words left her trembling lips as she nervously shook her head. "Still, I will protect you forever, you'll see." Interesting area that it cut out. Her slender fingers dug deep into the boy's back. Okay. Abruptly, there was an unexpected noise, and then the inside of the plane lost gravity. The file on my lamp slowly floated into the air before me, pages fluttering as if to take off, and then fell up from midair with a thud as though tired and gasping for air. But before it could recover, the file crashed abruptly to my feet. The plane felt like it was drifting on ice. As soon as that thought crossed my mind, the plane was once again pulled down with a frightening strength, as if it wanted to take us down into the bowels of the earth. Screams could be heard from every direction whenever the cabin shook. Mingled with the screams, an undercurrent of fear saturated the air. Like how she has to say that. Not that. Am I streaming? What's... Well, I'm not streaming. Oops. Sorry about that. I don't know why it cut off. Sorry about that. Yeah. I guess it did it when it dung on me. When it Oh, dung on me. That sounds like a very strange phrase. The screen dinged on me, or the computer dinged. So I guess that's when it cut off. So he didn't miss much. Me clung tightly to my chest. Oh, let's place my arm around his shoulder and tried to calm him down.
去年1年間に国内で発生した交通事故による死亡者の数って知ってる？ざっと1万人前後。地震、台風、落雷、雪崩。水難事故による死者の数は毎年1000人以上。殺人事件の発生件数は平均して年間1250件になる。
I think I think I see where she's going with this, but yeah, it doesn't sound. We're worried about dying, so let's talk about death, shall we?
それに対して航空機の墜落事故発生率はというと 0.0001%。 これが何を意味するのかユニくんわかる？つまり地上にいるよりもむしろ空中にいた方が安全だってこと。どう？安心したでしょ
Uni didn't reply. He simply buried his face in my chest as he trembled all over. The bell in the clock tower echoed solemnly. I was thinking, if she was going to say how many people died in plane accidents, I'd be like, so what you're saying is, it's about time, right? I checked my wristwatch. Just about 4 o'clock. The clock tower told the time without a minute of deviation. A metallic sound that was like the coarse voice of an aged man alerted me of the hour at hand. Snow danced violently to the sound of the bell as the raging wind stirred it. So what I saw were twinkling and sparkling particles of light. Hey, let me know if I'm still streaming, cause I'm supposed to. Let me Okay, cool. Just making sure. I was a little paranoid there. Then what I saw were twinkling and sparkling particles of light. An infinite number of angels dancing and rejoicing at the advent of a great gospel. I have a feeling I'm getting what he's there for. He's got a little bit of a vengeful type, slash smiting type way of saying things, so I'm kind of feeling I know where he's at and how he might come into this story. Bolts of lightning streaked across the ominous sky. The sound of the holy bell was denied by a roar filled with rage. The thunder continued, responding in succession, 2 times, 3 times, and the earth shook in unison each time, letting out a hateful groan. The flashes illuminated the sky with pale light. Then, a shadow that I couldn't miss appeared in the light. The shadow came up from behind me and stretched toward my feet. The cabin of the plane pitched violently back and forth as if giant waves were making sport of a small boat. The passengers, powerless to do anything, let out pitiful screams. In the midst of it were voices crying, voices screaming, voices praying. Looked out the window, wondered when we had fallen to our current altitude. The world outside turned to mutated gray. So text. Muddled gray. I'd say mutated. Guess it's about similar as casual. The tips of the airplane's wings went beyond the fog, covering my field of vision. The wings were now bending inward like a huge bow might, looking as if they could break off any second. I quickly pulled Uni off me, pushed him into his seat, and tightened the seatbelt with all my strength.
うやってダンゴムシみたいに丸くなるのよ。いい？もしもってどういうこと？この飛行機落ちちゃうの？墜落しちゃうの？大丈夫よ。大丈夫だけど念のためね。やだ怖いよ。ココロン。
He clung tightly to me once more. I forcefully pushed his shoulders back against the seat and tried to calm him down
ミリ
again.
君、お願いだからお姉ちゃんの言うこと聞いて。ちゃんと自分の席に座ってるの。どうして？なんでダメなの？ココロン、どっか行っちゃうの？僕を置いてかないで。一人ぼっちにしないで。どこにも行ったりしないわよ。降ろしてくれって頼んでも無駄だろうしね。でもほら、男の子でしょ。そんな泣きそうな顔するんじゃないの。約束通りちゃんと手繋いでてあげるから。
I firmly clenched Uni's hand. Large teardrops tumbled from Uni's watery eyes. For an instant, a flash of lightning rushed through the sky outside the window. A thunderous snapping, crunching roar followed. I reflexively turned my eyes downward. The file was at my feet. The white page before my eyes was illuminated by the lightning. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot more stuff like that happening in this one than the other two games. I turned around saying this as forcefully as I could. There's a faint shadow of a person in front of the door. However, the fierce wind and dancing snow prevented me from seeing who it was. Even the silhouette was impossible to make out through the thick light of a curtain of snow. Caught out once again. The shadow gave no answer. It was slowly moving closer. Feelings of fear and distress began to grow inside me. I was backed up into a corner of the roof by the mysterious shadow as it slowly drew nearer and nearer. The shadow didn't stop. Lightning bolts glittered in the distance like flames. The well-honed blade struck the earth. A silhouette could be made out in the backlight. In that instant, I finally figured out what that shadow really was. Reeling from the greatest shock yet, the airplane sunk rapidly. By now it was clear. The crew had no control over the plane. Light up that panic sign. It's time to do so. The small craft lost its balance completely, writhing and twisting like a snake. The lights had died, darkness was all around. The sounds of shrieks and screams stabbed at my ears. I know this is kind of a serious scene, but for some reason, I keep thinking that movie Airplane. That probably makes me a bad person, but that's what's going to mind right now. It's because they don't have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the plane that this is all happening. They need... That's what this game needs, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in this. A maddened passenger began screaming. A strong jet of air could be felt blowing in from somewhere. The scent of oil penetrated my nose, and the next moment... Before I noticed, I was dancing in the air, released from all restraints. Time stops. The snowstorm stops. Now I'm swallowed by the pure white world. The particles of light dance around me. The sound of the bell still reverberates in the air, as if I was reciting the beginning of a solemn ritual. Divinely, gently, ever so softly, I start to dissolve within the light. All my senses are disappearing. My vision is gone. As if I were being slowly peeled away, my consciousness departs me. A deep sleep I came to know long ago. My existence, I am now here. An explosion roared from a rift in the port side. In an instant, the aircraft was engulfed by raging flames. An ivory-colored mask fell from the ceiling, slowly swinging back and forth like the lifeless body of a convict who had just been executed. This might be the end. I tried to accept my coming fate. However, in my right hand there was a small palm, strongly, desperately calling for me. Even if it's only him that survives, I have to protect him. I won't let this warmth disappear from the world. Oops. Yeah, guys, the last eye was different. I noticed that, but I was gonna let you guys Realize that on your own. Yeah.
伏せて
Rapidly pulled the oxygen mask over Uni's face and forcefully pushed his head down to his
心
knees.
怖いよ怖いよ助けてよ心死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない
That's fine, man. Our altitude continued to drop. The airplane struggled violently in a last-ditch effort at resistance. But now the flames had reached the inside of the cabin and, sadistically licking the ceiling, drew ever closer to our
大丈夫
heads.
私を信じて必ず守ってみせるから
I held Uni's hand tightly. Movies. This game has it. I'm guessing this is the intro one. Okay, I think I saw a Sherlock Holmes hat on him, so yeah. Looks like this game actually has a little bit more character diversity than some of the others, where they've all been about the same age and kind of, sort of, you know. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was, so I guess that means the game is actually beginning now. Slowly opened my eyes. The unfamiliar ceiling, the scent of a freshly washed pillowcase. Everything around me seemed different than the norm. It was a bizarre feeling like I had never experienced before, a feeling that something was wrong, but I couldn't tell quite what. Where am I? I turned my head and looked around. Some sort of room. Bed beneath my body. That's about all I could figure out. Everything else remained a mystery to me. I gathered all my strength and tried to get up from the bed I was lying on. Intense pain immediately shot through my body. Couldn't even understand where this pain was coming from. Every joint in my body, my muscles, my insides, all of them were crying out in excruciating pain. Writhed in agony.
どうしたのちゃんと寝てなきゃダメじゃない
Door opened and a woman rushed into the room. She knelt down and gently helped me back into bed.
あなたは覚えてないの
During the pain coursing through my body, I took a closer look at the woman's
ごめん
face.
なさいどこかでお会いしましたっけ
She frowned as a confused look appeared on her face.
だわね。記憶喪失かしら。記憶喪失
Amnesia? It couldn't be that. Amnesia has never happened in any anime type game ever of all time.
本当に何も覚えてないの？私のことやこの施設のこと。
Took a good long look at the woman. Brown skin with ash brown eyes. Her features didn't give the impression that she was a typical Japanese person. Maybe she was half Japanese. In any case, I can definitely say that I haven't met her
本
before.
当にごめんなさい。いいのよ、謝らなくても。きっと頭をぶつけたのね。あんな高いところから落ちたんだもの。無理もないわ。
Falling from as high up. Like from an airplane? Yeah, I could say that falling with an airplane would be something. Falling? A shiver ran down my spine as that word left her mouth. The buried memories resurfaced one by one as a myriad of images ripped through my mind. The plane filled with agonized screams, the terrible explosion of scorching crimson flames, the thick black smoke, that tiny palm I held in my right hand, the palm pleading desperately for my help.
怖いよ。怖いよ。助けてよ。心を。彼はあの男の子はどこ？助かったの？助かったんでしょ？
Threw off the blanket and jumped up from the bed. But the next moment, a scorching pain once again ran through my body, draining any remaining strength that I had left. And once again, I collapsed back onto the bed.
もう何やってるの？まだ動ける体じゃないのよ。
That look of hers, filled with love and affection, reminded me of the Virgin Mary. A gentle smile, so kind, so beautiful, a smile so charming, it even made me slightly jealous of her. She carefully tucked me back into bed. Amazingly, when the palm of her hand touched my neck, the pain and anxiety started to subside.
教えてください。私の隣に座ってた男の子はどうなったんですか？隣？隣って？飛行機の墜落したあの飛行機のことですよ。私の隣に男の子が座ってたはずなんです。年齢は11歳。名前は楠田ユニ。
When said that her expression totally changed.
どうしてあなたが彼のことを知ってるの？どうしてって言われても。偶然私の後ろに座ってたのが楠田ユニっていう男の子で。いい加減にしてよ。あなたたち一体何を企んでるの？
Plotting, you people? Couldn't understand what she was saying. When our eyes met again, her expression had become cold and stiff as she stared at me sharply. There was no longer any trace of that Mary-like countenance to be seen anywhere on her face. Yeah, I'm confused about what's going on.
あなた
Sounds like a typical visual novel then.
ここに来た本当の目的は何？
Why am I here? That's what I'd like to know. But who am I? Well, at least that's one question I can probably answer. I was intimidated by her coercive attitude, but I was able to lift my body and start talking to her. 私の名前は冬川心。墜落した飛行機に搭乗していた乗客のうちの。Before I could finish, a strong slap flew across my
ふざけ
cheek.
ないでよ。冗談にしても程があるわ。
The woman's voice had become hoarse. Fingers and hands shook as if an anger that filled her to the brim had slightly boiled over. I was dumbfounded with no idea as to what was going on. Just when I had struck a nerve with her. Was she hurt by something I
なる
said?
ほど。手の込んだことするわね。さっきから妙な言葉遣いをすると思って気になってたんだけど。要するにそれも演技のうちだったんだ。笑わせないでよ。霊媒師かシャーマンにでもなったつもり？そんな三文芝居で遠回しに探りを入れるぐらいだったらはっきりと単刀直入に聞けばいいじゃない。
あなた何もかも知ってるんでしょ。
One of the kids that was there was 9 years old. He would have been 11, the same age as that guy. Interesting. I'm guessing that was the mother, that was the dead son of this lady right here. Is my assumption. Because otherwise, I don't know why she would be as pissed off.
多分あなたは何か勘違いしてるんだと思います。
お願いだからそんな白々しい演技はやめて。
演技なんかしてません。
じゃあどういうつもりなのよ。なんで冬川心なんて名前を。
だってそれは私の本名だからです。私は救命艦女子大3年の冬川心。稚内へと向かう飛行機に乗ってる途中で事故に遭遇して。
やめて。あなたが冬川心なわけないでしょ。
Oh wait, she's actually reacting to the name Kokoro. Declared firmly. Face distorted in agony, tears of desperation welling in her beautiful ash brown eyes.
でも
And I was still trying hard to hang on and gather my own strength. She hit me with something I had in no way expected.
死んだ人間のふりなんかして何が楽しいの。この後に及んでまだとぼけるつもり。冬川心という女の子はもうこの世界には存在しないの。彼女は死んだのよ。もちろんあなたもそのことを知ってるはず。
そんな。
Dead? What does she mean by dead? I was right here, wasn't I? I was still alive right here, right now, wasn't I? I was pretty certain I was still alive. But why would she make up a lie like that? Yes, a lie. She must have been lying. Even as I thought that, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't fight off the chill creeping up my back. Couldn't find a single word to say. My mind went completely
とに
blank.
かくあなたが何を企んでるのかまだわからないけど、どうせ騙すんならもっとうまくやってほしかったわ。
Leaving with a look of disdain, the woman walked towards the door.
それから一つだけ言っておくけど、
She stopped at the door, then turned around and
今
continued.
さら計画を取りやめるつもりはないから。
Okay.
邪魔しないで。
Plan for what? To go and to the grocery store or world domination, something like that. Those quiet words she left behind, amongst other things, I could feel a distinct sense of sadness. If that's where they're at, then that's where that other dude was at. As the woman left the room, I became lost in my thoughts. There was a lot of things I wanted to think through. However, I didn't know where to start, and I definitely didn't have enough information to make sense of it all. I don't know anything yet. Where am I? Is Uni safe? Who is that woman? If I ever wanted to find out, I couldn't just stay here alone with my thoughts. I dragged my injured body out of the room. Seeing in front of my eyes was quite surprising. Modern dining table and a set of rather uncomfortable looking chairs. Those do look like uncomfortable chairs. Yeah. Looking around, I noticed an induction cooker with a deep sink. Fancy though. Good sized television. Deciding to explore further, I entered a sizable open plan living area. A sofa of clean, simple design stood in the center, and a huge plasma screen took up the wall. A spacious room with a high ceiling and a window. First, it gave off an air of freedom. Its straight, sharp lines, however, make you feel a sense of tension and strain there. There were no signs of life in this living area, nor is there any
なん
warmth.
なのよこれ。
I had expected to see hospital trolleys everywhere, but it seems I was mistaken. Now that I think about it, I haven't even seen any medical equipment since I stepped out of the room I woke up in. This place isn't a hospital. But if it isn't a hospital, what is it?
本当に何も覚えてないの？私のことやこの施設のこと。
Facility for what? I was becoming more curious by the moment. Wandered around the room aimlessly, inspecting it more closely. There was a window in the kitchen. The window spanned the length of the walls from the floor to the ceiling. Beyond the window spread a darkness darker than black. Occasionally sparkling lights could be seen floating downward, most likely snow. There wasn't much to be seen from that window, except for the reflection of the room I was in. Something resembling a computer stood on a desk near a divider between the living area and the kitchen floor. I say something resembling a computer because there was no actual computer to be seen. Back in the day, I used to think that was a computer, just a monitor. Then I actually figured out some stuff about computers. A 17-inch display monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse are all that stands on the slick white desk. Although there are computers now that are just inside the monitor. One of the ones at work is like that. It's not the best computer though, but it's a functioning one. The cables from the equipment made their way under the flooring. There's a huge door for a front entrance and 4 other, more plain-looking doors. In the corner of the kitchen, there's also a staircase with a handrail leading somewhere downward. After walking around the room on my wobbly legs, I tried to make out a floor plan in my mind. Although with that said, this image is most likely far from perfect. Sean will totally remember that. Okay, don't go down the stairs until I explore everything else. Okay. Oh, so this is kind of a free roaming game. I like that. That woman that I saw before seems to have disappeared. My joints produce sharp bursts of pain whenever I move, but I don't feel like returning to the room I woke up in. That's how I had to. I guess I'll investigate the doors. Well, okay, I slightly free roam. I decided to investigate the doors. They were placed near the 4 corners of the square space that made up the kitchen and the living room area. First door in the upper left corner of my plan was the door I came out of before, so there is no need to investigate it. There are 3 doors remaining. First, I decided to take a look behind the door to the right of the main entrance. No one in here, but the white lamp hanging from the ceiling lights the room brightly. This room has no soul, so to say, but it feels as if there are definitely people living there. Quietly placed my right hand on the door frame to lean in and look inside. As I thought, the room was empty. Looks a lot like your room. That she was in earlier. Just my imagination. With that thought in mind, I left the room.
さてと。
What should I do next? I went to see if I could go out through the main entrance. The door didn't have a knob or any sort of handle attached to it. Must be an automatic door, but a very peculiar one, unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's made of some sort of metal, but that's about all I can make out about it. Wonder how thick it is. It seems to be so sturdy that a shell shot from a tank would have little chance of taking it down. Is that a scientific observation? Have you seen anything comparable? Well, I guess she wasn't in a plane crash, so I guess that's destructive. Stood in front of the door. Oh, it looks like it actually does open. What spread out in front of me when it opened was an image of hell in black and white. In the whirling plumes of snow, countless snowflakes were madly racing past each other. As I thought, the sparkling particles of light I had seen through the window earlier were indeed crystalline snow. But I had no idea it was coming down this hard. All that was reflected in my eyes were the countless white particles in the darkness between them. It was already impossible to see anything more than a few meters away. The harsh, freezing wind felt as if it would blow through me. My cheeks and neck felt as though they were being cut by countless shards of glass. It became impossible to breathe. The chilly air was so intense that I could feel my lungs and trachea choking on it as it made its way through them. I felt that if I stayed here for even 3 seconds more, I would surely die. Pretty sure that wasn't even an exaggeration. Hank stricken, I turned and started back toward the building. It was nice and warm inside. This was the kind of warmth that a human could survive in. I breathed a sigh of relief. The thundering roar of the wind was so loud that it could be clearly heard even indoors. I hadn't noticed the sound of it until now, but that's probably because my mind had been preoccupied with other things. Anyway, I doubt anyone could be outside in this kind of weather, except for the truly curious or adventurous. There's no way anyone would venture out in the middle of a snowstorm. Now that I caught my breath, I decided to explore the other parts of the facility. Maybe I should take a look downstairs next. Went down the staircase beside the kitchen. Apparently this place is being used as a storeroom. There are provisions, fuel, medical supplies, miscellaneous, daily supplies of all sorts of equipment, and so on, evenly spaced and neatly placed on the shelves. There's a bear pipe stretched across the ceiling. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, like, there's a bear pipe, like an animal bear. But then again, I don't even know how that would make sense. There wasn't a single window in the concrete walls. If this is the basement, then that would mean the floor I was just on was the first floor. But then again, the door leading outside should have made that obvious. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Or it sounded like a groan coming from somewhere. A low mechanical tone that shook me to my core. I didn't know what the sound was. Ignoring it for now, I slid it into the spaces between the shelves as if weaving myself through a crowded rush hour. It was about as wide as the floor above. There weren't any places I could call interesting, and I didn't think anyone could be hiding anywhere around here. Wait. I heard a faint sound. Sounded like a small animal running around. Perhaps a rat had settled in here. When it comes to rats, I get to choose if I can or can't handle them. Sure, I can handle them well enough, I guess. Alright. I'd rather not handle them. I can handle the situation of them. Situationally, I can handle them. And I guess if life depended on that, I could handle them physically. I'd rather not, though. One said I can't handle rats. However, I had no interest in looking for one so I could capture it. Supper! I returned to the first floor. Before I could finish climbing the stairs, I felt someone's presence. I glanced out from the kitchen and saw the figure of a girl sitting silently in a dining chair. The girl had her head bowed. I couldn't make out her face from here, but I was pretty certain it wasn't the brown-skinned woman I had met earlier. I tried to loosen up. Calling out, I approached her. The girl showed no reaction. She merely sat there without moving a muscle, as if she had been carefully placed there by someone, like a figure at a wax museum. I stood right beside her and bent over to take a look at her face. I gasped sharply and jumped back. Dashed back to where the stairs were. Misstepping, my foot slipped. Gripped the handrail for a moment to regain my balance. Okay, what's going on? My other hand was already covering my mouth. Not for that, I think I surely would have screamed. That's impossible. Why? Why was that girl in a place like this? Ah. She turned as delicately as a ballerina to face me. There's no mistake. The girl in front of me was unmistakably her. That girl who had murdered 12 innocent people in a hospital in Awazumi City. Okay, good. That's less awkward. It would be really bad if there had been something kind of wrong with her face and she bent down and looked at him and was like, ah! Because that would just be rather rude and embarrassing. Oh, okay, yeah. That's actually new, okay. I remember seeing that now that I see it again. There's no way I could possibly forget that face. Face of evil. As if to say, hello, the face of evil slightly nodded her head. Awkwardly returned a nod. I had to say something. Exactly how I felt, but it seemed as if I had completely forgotten how to speak out loud. Such situations are often attributed to a lump in the throat or the lips becoming too dry. But this was different. I had literally forgotten how to utter a word. In front of my eyes was the murderous monster, the serial killer, who had single-handedly rewritten the definition of crime in Japan. I felt that if I were to let my guard down for even a moment, I could easily become the 13th victim. And what a lucky number of victims to be! My heart was pounding hard and my skin was tingling as if an electric current were running through it. The awkward silence continues, because when I meet, murderers, it's a little awkward silence. How's your day? Killed anybody today? Met your allotment, hopefully? Inabushi kept staring at me expressionlessly, I think is what it said. Her face was devoid of any emotion. It was hard to tell if she was thinking anything at all. Tried to hide my panic behind the console. I'm making fun of her, of course, but... Oh, really? They're the unlucky... 4 and 9 are the unlucky numbers? Of course, I'm kind of poking fun of. I'm sure that there's some sort of explanation, but I'm just kind of making jokes about her being a serial killer or killer. I don't think I was much good at it. Both my cheeks become stiff like plaster. Then the girl returned to smile. It was a very natural, sincere smile. I thought it was safe to let my guard down a bit. Of course, not so far as to let her read me like a book, but after seeing such a gentle smile, there was really little I could do. Although my reasoning was trying hard to build up a strong, impenetrable wall, my instinctive curiosity took the best of me. I was climbing over the protective wall and taking a step forward, into danger. My voice quivered and gave away my nervousness. The girl stayed silent. She didn't understand what I had just said. I asked the same question again, but the girl just tilted her head. It couldn't be a different person. No, that's impossible. Maybe she's a good twin. She's got an evil twin and a good twin. Maybe this is a good one. She looks exactly like the girl from the photo in the file. I'm just thinking of meeting somebody who's killed other people and then being like, don't play dumb with me. I know you killed them people. And then they'll be like, ah, you got me. Stab. I got you. You got me. I got you. We all got each other. Now bleed to death. That's not exactly a smart thing to say. Or kind of push somebody. I'm sure the game won't end if I'm pretty sure that, like I said, there's some sort of explanation to why. I'm sure this is what this game's all about. The slow build up, finding out what's going on in her brain to cause such a thing. But I guess I'll ask indirectly though.
なんて言えばいいのか、あなたは淡住市で起きた事件のですよね。違いますか？
She looked as if she was lost in thought, but then shook her head gently.
嘘でしょ？私知ってるんですよ。実はあの事件のこと。
I'm trying to gauge her reaction. I slowly stuttered through the sentence. But Inabushi Kiko kept looking at me with her mouth shut. She didn't look at least a bit flustered. She tilted her head as if in wonder and gave me a quick glance, then averted her gaze. She threw me a second glance, and at that moment, as if having lost her temper, the girl stood up forcefully. I hope that's exactly what Kokoro did. She turned my way and started walking vigorously toward me. Flinching, my face twisted as I shrank away. Well, it seemed like a moment she had my back up against the wall, and even then the girl didn't stop moving. Breaking through my protective wall and ignoring all my warning senses, she entered my personal space. What a weird way to phrase that. Let's find out what personal space means, shall we? I hate it when it does that. I didn't mean to. Nah. What is personal space? The region surrounding each person, or the area which a person considers their domain or territory. Often when someone enters the range of your personal space, you will begin to feel uneasy or uncomfortable. While it is highly variable and difficult to measure accurately, the best estimates for personal physical space place it around 60 centimeters to either side, 70 centimeters in front, or 40 centimeters behind the body for the average Westerner. 60 centimeters, what is that, about 2 foot? Or 4 foot? 40 centimeters. Yeah, it's something like that. What is a conversion there? Well, anyway, guess I agree. I do like how they mentioned that you want more space in the front than you would behind somebody. I would definitely agree with that. She was at a distance that would make any kind of resistance futile. Of course, around people who have killed people. My personal space does expand, to like a few miles. I'd rather people who have killed other people be at least a few miles from me at all times. My personal space when it comes to that. I do like the resistance to the futile thing. Immediately after I squeezed out those words, the girl firmly gripped both my shoulders. Tried to scream, took a deep breath. Before I could let out a sound, the girl covered my lips with her palm. It's all over. I braced myself and squeezed my eyelids shut. Nothing happened. Timidly, I opened my eyes. As I look carefully, her face looks as if she's on the verge of breaking down in tears. Her moist pupils seem to be eagerly appealing to me for something. So what is this supposed to mean? I didn't know what was going on, but at least I didn't feel any danger or hostility. The stiff body slowly regained its power to move. At the same time, the girl removed her hand from my lips.
何が言いたいの?
Or give me a look, which was apparently asking me for something. The girl shook her head back and forth.
どうしたの?
Even when trying to ask for something, the girl spoke no words. And all she does is shake her
それ
head.
じゃわからないじゃない。何か言ってよ。
The girl pointed to her own throat. While doing so, her other hand is flapping and waving as if fanning the air. A gesture? That's it, and this action probably means. Yes, the girl nods over and over again. In short, she isn't able to speak. However, that wasn't all she wanted to tell me. After I had deciphered her last thought, the girl had stuck out the palm of her hand toward me. Wait here. That's what this probably meant.
わかったけど。どこ行くの？
Without answering, the girl left my side. She was looking around the kitchen restlessly in search of something. Suddenly, looking as if she had found something, she ran to one of the doors in the four corners of the room. The girl's figure disappeared behind the door. It was a room that I had entered before. After a few moments, the girl jumped out of the doorway. Looking confused, she beckons me over.
何かあったの？
Rushed over to her. The pain I had forgotten about was most likely coming from my limping knee. Somehow rallying my strength, I managed to reach the open door. The girl went inside as if calling for me to come with her. There was nobody inside the room besides us. Nothing had changed since I had last been here. Interesting that she said that this place had no soul. Wish my nose had no soul. After I glanced around the room, Inubushi Keiko tilted her neck as if to point at something. She held a black felt tip pen in her right hand and a size 8/6 memo pad in her left because it's important we know exactly what type of memo pad she's using. She had most likely found them somewhere in this room. She pushed the memo pad against the wall and started to write with the black felt tip pen. Before she finished writing, I took a peek at the lines she had already scrawled on the page to make out the following. There are lots of things I want to tell you, but before that, look over there. With the tip of the pen, she pointed to the corner of the room. There was nothing that felt particularly special about that area. Stretching, she held the pen high. The tip of the pen pointed toward the bed on the other side of the room. Was she trying to say there was someone hiding over there? Feeling uneasy, I advanced toward the back of the room, following her directions. Went around to the side of the bed facing the window and stopped. It was at that moment, something wriggling jumped into my field of vision. Instinctively, I turned my head toward it.
ユニ、助かったのね。
I blurted it out spontaneously. Took a closer look. There was no mistaking it. Sitting in front of me was Uni, the boy I'd been searching for so desperately. Wrapped up in a blanket, Uni sat crouched in the narrow space between the bed and the
大
wall.
丈夫？どこも怪我しなかった？
As I knelt down in front of him, I put my hands on his shoulders. What my palms felt was real. He's alive right here now, and I gave thanks from the bottom of my heart for this blessing. My heart was racing from the joy of our reunion. A feeling of excitement ran through my body, powered by the hot blood charging through my veins. I no longer hold myself back. My body rushed toward him. I wanted to hold him tightly in my arms. But that one word escaping from his lips stopped me dead in my
誰
tracks.
ですか？どうしたのよ、ユニ。私よ、私。あの飛行機が墜落した時、隣に座ってたじゃない。
My voice was high and shrill with confusion. Minnie's hollow, lifeless eyes were staring off somewhere. They appeared lost, not focused on anything in particular.
人違いじゃないですか。僕、あなたのことなんて知りませんけど。
そんな。でも、君は楠田ユニ君なんでしょ？
どうして僕の名前を？
だって、それは。
I swallowed the words I was going to say, stopping in the middle of my sentence. Suddenly realized something. This situation, this conversation, they were all too similar to those which had taken place a short while ago in that hospital-like room with that strange, moody woman. I had no idea who she was, but it seemed like she knew something about me. And now, Although I clearly remembered Uni, he didn't seem to have any clue as to who I was. Although the roles were switched, their situations were basically the same. Now that I think about it, that woman's expression only changed when I mentioned the name Kusuda Uni. Now the person right in front of me also questioned me, so I knew his name. What the heck is going on? Was it a bad idea for me to admit that I knew Uni, I wondered? Looked at him again. His eyes were pointed somewhere behind me as if they were staring at something far away. His expression was void of all emotion, like that of a faded and dried up doll. In my head, I could still remember how he had played so innocently and cheerfully with a doll, a small plush bear. I felt as if I had just lost something incredibly precious to me.
忘れちゃったんだ。だけどその方が幸せかもしれない。幸せ？あの機内で起きたこと。私だって記憶を消したいぐらいだもん。
ちょっと待ってください。さっきから言ってることがよくわからないんですけど。僕はあの飛行機に乗った時のことから落ちた時のことまで全部覚えてるんです。
Took a while for me to digest his words. In short, what he meant was, Uni remembered everything about the flight and the crash. However, he had no memory of me.
とにかくあなたは何か誤解してるんだと思います。
Misunderstanding him, pretty sure I couldn't have gotten anything mixed up. I was very certain I knew Uni. Perhaps he had died in another crash and he was a ghost, but then I guess he wouldn't have. I don't know. Just throwing an idea that didn't work out. Forget I said it.
一つ
My thoughts were interrupted by his
この
whisper.
人たちはどうなったんですか？あなたもあの飛行機に乗ってたんでしょ？
I was unable to speak. My confusion had left me at a loss for words as it was. Needless to say, his question didn't make things any easier for me. My memory stops at the point just before the crash. I had probably lost consciousness from the immense impact. When I came to, I found myself on the bed in that strange room.
そうですか。
He seemed to have made sense of something simply listening to my silence. His lips trembled as he mumbled something. He went pale, his expression clouding over. From his pupils, large round teardrops started to form and shake haphazardly, sparkling in the light. Looked as if he hadn't lost any of his emotions after all. He just tried to seal them up deep in his
ごめ
heart.
んなさい。何か分かったら教えてもらえますか？実は僕、ある人を探してるんです。心って名前の人。名字は確か冬川だったと思います。
They pulling some Ever 17 type crap on me again. I bet they are. Bet they did that thing at the beginning and be like, at the beginning of the game, be like, aha, you think we're gonna pull that crap? We're not. And then they figure a way to pull that crap on you again anyway. I see through you. See through you, game. Couldn't believe my ears. My body started trembling nervously. I tried to calm myself down at first, but then realized I had no control over it and simply gave in. So was it just that dark-skinned woman who was acting strange? Even Uni didn't recognize me as Fuyukawa Kokoro. To have my whole existence simply denied like that was frightening, to say the least.
どうしたんですか？
Uni asked in a delicate voice. I am. Going to save the game right now. Yep. Total done 3%. Scene's done 43%. Anyway, yeah, that's gonna be it for this from this session of Remember 11. game is definitely interesting. I think this game might have grabbed me a little bit sooner than the others, to be honest. I think it has, actually. Ever 17, when I played it, when I started playing on my channel, I had played it before. So I played through the first part of it before anyway. So I knew a lot of it, or I vaguely remembered a lot of it that was going to happen. But it did take a while to grab. It does take a while to grab you. And then Never 7. Well, I mean the actual stuff happening. Don't really get into it until I think it was like episode 15 or so, when the actual stuff really started happening. I mean the character building was interesting, but the actual plot line didn't really pick up until then. But yeah, this is getting you curious way early about what's actually going on with the story, why he's not able to remember, or why somehow he doesn't recognize her, what the relationship is with the killer girl. One thing I was thinking is, what if each of the characters are what their personalities, and this is like all inside of her head? But I highly doubt that's it. That's just a random theory. I'm already throwing it out there. I'm going to do that in this. That's what I do. Yes, and that too. I have no problem with romance inside of a game, inside of a storyline, but I don't like it to be the focus. You know, it's very nice as an extra motivation for the characters, but the sole purpose, yeah. It's probably why I really enjoyed the last route of Ever 17. Probably why most people did, actually. Because, each album was kind of like that before. Except for the Sarah route. If you haven't played the game, you'll know why. It's a good thing that romance wasn't really involved in the Sarah route. But, the name is right? I remember the name right. I think I remember the name right. But, yeah. If that is the case in this one, then that is good. Suspense and mystery. Paranormal type stuff. Science fiction-y stuff. All mixed together. I like it. So yeah, this is the end of this session. So, I hope everybody enjoyed, and see you in the next